So, I did 4 videos. Everything's done with hockey for today, right? No, apparently not. See these guys? And these guys? Wow. So, Jonathan Drouin is now a member of the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, everybody's going to take this as meaning Galchenyuk's out. And a sixth round draft pick in 2018. Michael Sergachev is going to Tampa with a 2018 second round pick. So Drouin apparently carries more worth than Sergachev at this point, which makes sense. Sergachev hasn't played yet. Drouin had 53 points this season and can become a restricted free agent July 1st, which is why he was traded. Tampa's got cap problems. Bring in Sergachev, he's still on an ELC, and he's a defenseman, which they need. Sergachev, 18, was the Canadiens' first-round pick in the 2016 draft. He opened the season in the NHL, but played 3 games before being returned to Windsor to play for the Spitfires. Returned for the Canadiens' regular season finale April 8th. I don't know. I know people are going to look at this and go, oh, well, this means Galchenyuk's getting moved. I don't think so. Because let me go look up the Montreal Canadiens depth chart for a second here. Roster resource. It's always interesting what Google throws up first. Oh, I don't like the way these guys lay this out at all. And they've got Shaw listed as a center. So Galchenyuk's not a center. Can be a center, but it's clear Montreal doesn't view him as one. So now Galchenyuk and Drouin would seem to be the future. And I don't see Galchenyuk getting traded out. Here's why. Plekanec is over the hill. Danault is a good third-line forward. I don't know that Gallagher's ever going to get back to the kind of stats he was putting up previously. Of course, everybody has their opinions on Pacioretty. It's going to be interesting, though. It's going to be really, really interesting as we head into the expansion draft. So let's take a look. That was just a bottle falling over. Don't panic, people. Let's go look at Mr. Expansion Tool. Actually, I'm going to use Cap Friendly's version. Don't load up any of those things yet because I just got to figure out what this does because I'm saying Galchenyuk's not going to move, and yet I need to take a look at what Montreal is going to be protecting and keeping and what they're going to be exposing. Because of the timing, because it's before the expansion draft, it'd be foolish of me to say, oh, this has nothing to do with the expansion draft. Of course, they haven't had time to update the lists. They're going to protect Pacioretty. They're going to protect Shaw. They're going to protect Gallagher. They're going to protect Galchenyuk. And this, of course, is if they keep him. So, I assume they'll protect Radulov if they're going to keep him. And then I need a 7th forward. Oh, there's Drouin down at the bottom. Okay. That works. Actually, that's a 6th forward. So, Petrie's auto-protected, and then Weber. And then I'll go with them protecting Ben and say they expose Emelin and Davidson, Redmond, Thrower, Nestorov, Bolya. I'll say that's who they expose. And I guess Plekanec. I wouldn't be surprised if they expose Plekanec. So with him added, with Drouin added, and props to Cap Friendly for making that move already. Torrey Mitchell, Paul Byron, Philip Deneau, Daniel Carr, Chris Terry. These are the forwards that are being exposed along with Emelin and Davidson on the blue line. So, and Markov would be exposed there too if they protect Ben. See, No, you protect Ben ahead of Markov because Markov's an upcoming UFA and he's 38 years old. I mean, at some point you have to cut ties. It's interesting for Montreal. What does it do to Tampa? Let's go look and see what it does to Tampa, shall we? Let's take a look. So Stamkos and Callahan have no movement clauses, and they haven't been asked to remove those. Kucherov should get protected. I keep seeing Killorn being exposed instead of Nemesnikov. I think Palat gets protected. See, by trading away Drouin, now they can protect Nemesnikov and Killorn. And then they still have a spot open for Tyler Johnson. Yeah, that way they can protect all their forwards. On the blue line, they've got Hedman. I think they'll protect Stroman. And I think they'll protect Coburn only because if they expose Garrison, I can't see Vegas touching him. Which leaves Schuster still out there. Schuster could very well be the one that goes. In net, there isn't really anything attractive unless they go with Budai. Up front, the guys that are unprotected are like Letourneau, Vermeen, Freeze. There's nothing big there. Eric Condor, Cedric Paquette. I mean, Paquette could be a pickup. Paquette's only 23, but he's not exactly the guy that's going to lead your expansion team, and it's not going to cripple Tampa Bay if they lose him. So there you go. As I just went through the lists and figured out who to protect and who to expose, this trade means for Tampa, they can protect their entire core from the expansion draft. They don't have to worry about negotiating with Drouin in the offseason. They can negotiate with the other players. For Montreal, they've added a good young forward who can score. So when people come on here, and they will, and say, well, Galchenyuk's going to go now for this, you'd be insane to trade out goal-scoring ability. This trade, and it's always a question of who wins. Montreal wins this trade. Absolutely, positively. 53 points for Drouin. I know Sergachev is going to be a good defenseman. I'm not convinced of his ceiling. For instance, people want me to say whether or not I think Ulevy was a mistake ahead of Sergachev. I don't think it was a mistake for Vancouver to draft Ulevy. Time will tell. But for Tampa, they get a better draft pick. They get a second rounder next year. It should be a good draft. But by giving Montreal a really good young forward that can score points and goals, they're probably making that a lesser draft pick. So for Montreal, if you're a fan of the Habs today, you should be very happy. Drouin fits right in with what Montreal should be doing, getting younger, faster, and more talented. It was the lack of scoring that really was exposed against the Rangers. And now they're taking steps to fix that. I don't know who else you move out. I don't know who else you move in. But I'm telling you, Galchenyuk, don't trade Galchenyuk. Don't do it. And I think with this, there's going to be Canuck fans who say, well, why didn't we give him Tanev in a first? Because that's not what they wanted. Tanev makes a lot of money. Tampa needs cap space. Tanev wouldn't help them there. So before a Canuck fan comes in and says, oh, we should have traded Tanev, and I'm sure it's going to be on the Canuck forum, because it usually is, cap space. It's gold right now. Tampa doesn't have any. Montreal just bought them some. It's gold. Vancouver really couldn't have helped them unless Vancouver was offering up Ulevy, in which case I would not have been a happy camper. The Canucks haven't had a blue chip prospect on the blue line in a long time. And that is something that Montreal's going to have to really, really look at. For Montreal right now, you look at their blue line. It's under Shea Weber's 31, Petry's 29, Emelin's 31, Davison's 25, and exposed for the expansion draft. Ben's 29, Redmond's 28. They got Dalton Thrower here. He's not going to be around. Nathan Beaulieu's 24, and exposed in the expansion draft and likely to go. Who's the blue chip prospect now for Montreal on the blue line? When Markov's gone and Emelin breaks down, and I don't know how much longer Emelin's got to go, and people are already complaining about Shea Weber, who's that next horse on the blue line for Montreal? Who's the next Chris Chelios for this team? I don't see it. And Sergachev, he could have been. The potential's there. So does this leave Montreal, who are drafting at 25? Does this mean they can pick a defenseman at 25 that can step in? Does that 5th-round draft pick next year from Tampa take him over the top? Probably not. So what are they thinking here? I know they need scoring, but they don't have a ton of depth on the blue line either. So it's a weird one. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And pretty decently big trade. This is the first. It's not going to be the last. Thanks for watching.